We're in a mess, folks, a mess. Radical Islamic terrorism. I've been looking at airplanes getting blown up in the air and lots of bad things happening. It's just not the same, and we're going to bring it back. You're going to be proud of your country again, and we're going to start winning again. Believe me, we're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We have no choice.
Terror and Homeland Security taking center stage on the campaign trail this week.
And they're the focus of Fox News Sunday this morning, hosted by Fox News national correspondent, our friend John Roberts, who it is great to see this morning. Good to see you, John.
Morning, John. Sharp tie.
Tucker, Clayton, Anna, good morning to you. How are you? You know, Trump also said at the NRA, we're going to win. We're going to win so much you're going to say, Mr. President, stop winning. We can't take it anymore. It's a line
I can't wait for that day. Now, I know it is teased the terror part, but I can't resist, since you're covering politics so much and have for the last year. What do you make of the divide on the Democratic side? Bernie Sanders saying he would replace Debbie Wasserman Schultz immediately if he became president. It seems like kind of a big deal.
You know, this is one of the most interesting things that I have seen in a long time. Tucker, this political year is so unprecedented with Donald Trump and what's happened with him on the Republican side, and then now Bernie Sanders saying that he is supporting Debbie Wasserman Schultz's opponent, Tim Canova, in the August 30th Democratic primary there in Florida. Canova is a supporter of Bernie Sanders, and then saying if he becomes president, which nobody expects him to, but you never know because it's been a crazy year, that he will fire Debbie Wasserman Schultz immediately. I mean, it's clear that there are such huge divisions here in the Democratic Party. And this is one thing that Donald Trump is kind of counting on. You know, he's got that big deficit among Hispanic voters. But how many Bernie Sanders supporters, and we saw a little bit of this in West Virginia, I don't know how much it'll translate across the country, but how many Bernie Sanders supporters, as a protest vote against Hillary Clinton, may come out for Donald Trump in November? I think that's a valid question.
That's a fascinating point. I mean, this idea, right, that everyone's going to fall in line, of course, right, that everyone's going to unite around Hillary Clinton when all is said and done and the dust settles. But they may not, the millennial vote, which Bernie Sanders has really tapped into, the youth vote, may not even get out of bed.
Yeah, I mean, they could stay home or they could decide to file a protest vote. They could do it with Donald Trump. They could also do it with Gary Johnson, who's polling in double digits now as the Libertarian candidate, and according to our polling, is drawing equally from both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So he may not affect the overall outcome if he continues to draw equally from both, but certainly he could be a place where some of those Bernie Sanders supporters could lodge their protest.
John, you know this so well. So the question is why? Why is this happening?
Why? Because the political establishment, with its blinders on and its tunnel vision, has completely failed to read the mood of the American electorate on both sides of the fence. There are so many people in this country, and it would appear to be a majority on the Republican side, because if you look at the collective vote for Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, it was up there around 70–80%. And it's not that high on the Democratic side. It's more probably about 45%. There are so many people, though, in this country who are so sick and tired of sending politicians to Washington and nothing getting done that they're saying, the heck with all of you. We're going to go with somebody else, which is why these alternative candidates, now Bernie Sanders not an outsider, but certainly outside the political mainstream, are getting so much traction this year.
John,
we saw it in some of the midterm elections. I think Mississippi was a real wake-up call for the Republicans that they ignored. They just breathed a sigh of relief and said, okay, let's go back to status quo. And look at where they are now.
Exactly. John, we saw this week a tale of two leaders between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump when it comes to the politics of terror, and Hillary Clinton trying to paint Donald Trump as being reckless and saying that it was terror that blew the plane out of the sky. You have some guests coming up on the program on Fox News Sunday today to talk about that.
Yeah, divisive and dangerous is what Hillary Clinton has said about Donald Trump. But yet both of them, Trump more forcefully, obviously, both of them are saying they suspect that terror brought down Egypt Air Flight 804. We're going to lead off the program today with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson. We'll talk to him about that. We'll also talk to him about the long lines at TSA checkpoints, particularly in places like Midway in Chicago, and what the Department of Homeland Security plans to do about that. There's an increase in other than Mexican migration across our southern border. We'll talk to him about that. Mike McCall from the Homeland Security Committee in the House will be here, and we'll talk to Pete Sessions, Senator, who, of course, is with Donald Trump's campaign. So back to you, folks.
Thanks, John. Great to see you this morning.
Great, John Roberts.
Good to see you.
Thanks, John.